The sound effects don't appear to be working.
No. Woo.
But yeah. Woo. Okay, hello everyone. As long as people can still hear, welcome to another rendition of XGR, Xpound Gaming Radio. I am your host, Chris, aka The Mole, and joining me, as usual, is Anastasia Laserbeam.
Hello.
And Rick the Hammer.
Hello.
And today we're going to be taking a look at the news first, then what games we've played this week, and then we're going to go straight into our topic, which is the rise of the import of Japanese games getting worldwide releases. So stay tuned for that. So first up with the news, take us away first, Miss Laserbeam.
Okay. Well, you know how you got one Mario amiibo and you're excited that one more came out? Well, how about two more after that? Because you want all the Mario amiibos because you're super fucking cool. Yeah. Well, they have two more Mario amiibos, the gold and silver. And this is just a regular. I think it's like the same, almost the same pose as the not the Super Smash one, but the what do you call it? The one with the Toad. Yeah, Super Mario Brothers. The one with Toad in it. It's like,
yeah. I will say,
anyway,
out of curiosity, is the sound effects working for either one of you two?
I
can try. Which one do you want me to try?
Try.
Yes.
Hey. Yeah, when I click them, they're not working. But that's fine. But yeah, the gold and silver ones. Honestly,
the same pose as the other ones. Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I was expecting this just because I know Disney Infinity, to their credit, haven't. Well, actually, no, they did do it, but they didn't do it as fast. But I know Skylanders did it, where you can now buy like legendary versions of all of them. And now Disney Infinity 1 did it, and I think 2's done it, where you can get crystal versions of the characters and stuff. And it's like, to be fair, people do like them, so I could totally see this. I don't see it as, another Mario. I see it being the same one, just for collector's purposes, along the way Skylanders and Disney Infinity work.
Yeah. So
personally, I don't like this crystal figures because I much prefer the actual ones.
Yeah.
Same thing with this like all gold Mario. Sorry, I'd rather have my one with all the details looking like Mario with the fireball. That looks awesome. I don't want it all gold because then it stops looking like Mario. That might just be
basically.
If they had a silver one, like it was Metal Mario, that would make sense. But like, I don't remember a gold power up.
They do have a silver.
Nice.
The only one that says to me is, hey, you know how we don't have all the Smash Brothers characters out? Well, you know what? Too bad. Here's some more fucking Mario.
Yeah,
what, you wanted Captain Olimar? Suck dick.
You wanted Ganondorf? Well, this game was relevant? Too bad.
Fuck you. And it's just annoying.
And I will say, just because you're ill today, I will nickname you for this podcast, Sick the Hammer.
Okay.
It's just like, I'm fucking Captain Olimar already.
I know. We need him for the Pigman game.
Fuck you.
I was defending you. But no, okay. But no, yeah, I can see why that happened. But next up, take us away, Richter.
All right. Okay, I'm going to start with, I guess it's technically the bigger news, but it's sad, so I'd rather get it out of the way first. But over at Rooster Teeth, their lead animator and mocap guy, Monty Ohm, died a few days ago at the age of 33, apparently from an allergic reaction to a standard medical procedure, their quotes. And
that
so
sounds
he was
suspicious.
Yeah, well, he did like I don't know if anyone saw this, but years ago there was the Metroid versus Halo animation. He was like the guy that did that, and he did the Final Fantasy versus Dead or Alive people.
Is that the one I saw where it was like Samus and her armor fighting Master Chief, and then eventually her armor breaks, he sees her, and they sort of kiss at the end?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure because I know there've been a couple, like some have done them with sprites and stuff.
Yeah, no, he did like the 3D. He did like really what was the first well-known one. He
Nice.
did it like apparently all himself, yeah, and that's what helped him get noticed. And he did like a lot of their mocap for the later seasons of Red vs. Blue, which I haven't seen. In the show Ruby, that was the one he completely like spearheaded, which I liked. But he also did the he was, I don't know if he was like lead animator, but he did a lot of like the animation and the combat system for the Afro Samurai game, which was actually kind of cool.
I did see Red vs. Blue when it first came out. I haven't
Yeah.
seen all of them. I will go on record to saying that. But I did watch a few of them when they first came out because it was right around the right time too, because Halo was still really popular.
Yeah.
It's funny. I've watched most of them.
Which means the guy clearly had an eye for what was popular and what would work.
Yeah. He was a really good anime. Like his fight choreography, I think, was really good. So it's really kind of sad that he died, but oh well. Not much that can be done.
That is sad. And our thoughts go out to his family.
Yes.
I'm still saying that sounds like really suspicious circumstances.
It does sound weird.
It sounds vague, but yeah.
On a routine, like they specifically said, a routine medical examination or something that shouldn't have happened. Basically, it's saying, like, that sounds suspicious. If it's a routine thing, it's done often. There should have been no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
It wasn't. Well, yeah, but routine ones can still go wrong. It wasn't like a routine one that went wrong. It was a routine one that he had an allergic reaction to, which can happen. Like, for example, I'm allergic to one of the medicines in the UK, which is the most used one for curing a load of illnesses. And yeah, and it's used for most of the stuff, and I'm allergic to it.
Shouldn't they have that shit documented?
They do, but not
sometimes you have to actually suffer it before you know.
Yeah, you don't know.
Yeah.
We'll instantly die if you don't insert the substance into you.
Not to
won't know until substance is inserted into you.
But that was always something I wondered about. Like when I was in high school and kids would be like, "Oh man, I'm deathly allergic to a bee sting," and I'm like, I'm going to respect that. I'm not going to be a dick, but how do you know?
I will say,
you're still alive. Like
they could have known. They could have known the way I did.
Mm-hmm.
I got stung by a hive of wasps when I was a kid, only because, long story short, kids were daring people to do it. And I went and did the obvious thing. If I went right up to one and just punched the nest. It was on the floor. I went whack, punched the nest. They all came out, swarmed me. Stung the living crap out of all my body and stuff like that. And for weeks, I was on the couch in just a dressing gown, unable to move, with big swelling, just watching stuff like Close Encounters of the Third Kind that was replayed on daytime TV, because back then we didn't have DVRs.
I know, right?
I know. I miss DVRs. DVRs have improved our lives. I wish I was sick now. I wish I was close to death now. People who are close to death now, they have it good.
You get to be Batman for a day.
Yeah, but no, I had that, and the doctor had said if it happened again, I could be dead from it. So I knew I was deadly allergic to wasp stings.
Gotcha.
Fun fact and a little personal information for all our listeners.
Yeah.
And some advice for any kids listening: don't punch a wasp's nest.
I know, right? Yeah, when you were listening, I was a kid. Also, I was like, oh, I figure.
Send Mole take up a wasp nest and put it in the mail, and then send it to Mole.
Yeah, it's also the worst thing is because that was the third time I've been stung by a wasp's nest. Second time I had stood on it by mistake because there was one inside the ground, behind my house where the woods were, where everyone used to play manhunt. And the first time I went up to it and just dropped a brick on it.
Why would you do that?
The joys of being a little boy.
Yeah.
For a little boy, that's cool. I'm going to drop a brick on it.
Is this after they told you were going to die, though?
No. That was the first one. Then I stood on it, and I was still really allergic. Then the third one was really worse. And it's like my allergy had gone worse. And it's I probably should have learned, but still. My news.
Yeah, I was going to say the most telling part is you're like, I dropped a brick on it. And Stacy goes, why? I knew why.
Yeah.
It's just a male thing. It's like, yeah.
is. But I will say my news. Investment firm Columbus Nova has acquired Sony Online Entertainment. The company announced yesterday, I believe, or the day before, and has rebranded the studio as Daybreak Game Company LLC. Daybreak will operate as an independent game developer studio under the new title, according to a press release, and will continue to work on MMO-style games. We see tremendous opportunity for growth within the expansion of the company's game portfolio through multi-platform offerings, as well as an exciting portfolio of new quality games coming up, including the recently launched H1Z1 and the highly anticipated EverQuest Next to be released in the near future, said Jason Expian, senior partner at Columbus Nova. It's also worth noting they have gone on record as saying this means because it's not Sony anymore, they are really looking forward to making Xbox MMOs and iOS MMOs.
Oh, nice.
So that should be cool. Whether or not EverQuest goes multi-platform, I don't know, because it's very possible Sony may actually still own part of the IP. But Xbox people could get DCUO. Yay. They'll be happy they get that.
They're really mad about the Minecraft thing, aren't they?
Yeah. I just see them. I'm going to kill what I created. Me and DCUO. But no, honestly, I don't think DCUO should go to Xbox, only because it's PS3. On PS4, it's still the same game as the PS3, just slightly better graphics. It's really outdated. Putting on the Xbox now is I don't think it'll benefit any of the Xbox players. They need to get the newer stuff that's coming out that will actually benefit from working close with Xbox people. Because DCUO is glitched as fuck right now. They can't get it working on the system they have it on. Let's at least fix that before you put it elsewhere. That might just be me. But that was my small news. And back to Pew Pew, who's reporting from location from the Eye of the Storm.
Wait, what? This isn't exactly bigger news, but the PS.
To be fair, we have got rid of small and big news and just went news 1, news 2.
Okay, so PlayStation Plus games, a bunch of shit I don't know, but among it is among it is Transistor, which I was thinking about getting on Steam, but now I'll probably get it since it's coming to the PS4 because that looked cool. It's, you might know because it what was it? Bastion was its predecessor, and I kind of gave it an overly positive review. Because I tried to be as nice as possible because I didn't feel like ripping it to pieces. Because it's all critically acclaimed and shit. So I was very nice and honest. So I might want to try this one out. Yeah, I hope it's better than this one. I mean, it's clearly going to be significantly better because I have to play with a mouse. So that's going to be a good start. Okay, the other games are Apotheon.
And hey, I will say some games are better when you play with a mouse. Otherwise, why else would people have been putting the Wizard Mickey figure on eBay for Disney Infinity unless it was better to play that as a mouse?
Ha! Okay, and so anyway, for completion's sake, Apotheon, Yakuzu, whatever, fucking 4, Thief, whatever fucking words, I don't know, not English, Rogue, Legacy,
Thief is good.
and Fennec. Oh yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I haven't played it, so. But yeah, that's the only one I'm looking forward to is Transistor because it looks freaking cool.
Yeah, I say Thief is good, not because I've played it. I say Thief is good as in a good PlayStation Plus title, because regardless of whether or not I've played it, I've seen a load of people love it. I've seen a load. It won a few awards and stuff like that. So I'm like, it's a big title, if that makes sense. So it's a big AAA or at least AA title for the store, that's always good, regardless of whether or not I myself actually like the game. Like this month on Plus, I don't think there's any I'm going to be downloading. Only because I only download the PlayStation 4 ones now, and that's only if I want the game. Which kind of makes me sad that PS3's become that. I don't want to play it. It's like the second they announced Borderlands was coming on PS4, I've not touched the pre-sequel. So I'm like, no, fuck it, I'm getting it on PS4. But fair enough, Pew. And yeah, the PlayStation Plus games do look kind of cool this month.
Well, one of them does. The other ones are like, meh.
Some of them look kind of cool. But if you know,
I haven't heard of them, so I bet Richter will like them.
Yeah, but like I said, if they're games that are pretty good, like Thief was up there at one point with games like the game you said had too much stealth. I saw Thief being listed up there with Dishonored and Assassin's Creed and Batman and stuff with all those stealth games at one point or another.
Yes, it is.
Thief is a stealth game?
It is a stealth game, but I mean, I saw when it first came out, I saw people listing it up there as in terms of quality. But I personally don't know.
Okay, because if it's stealth, I probably won't be picking that up.
Yeah, fair enough. It's another game that has too much stuff. But yes.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
And back to the sad and sick Richter Hammer.
Yay.
Who's in need of a hug. If you want to hug Richter Hammer, leave your details below.
Mail him a hug.
Mail me a hug.
Yes, a Hershey's. Or do they only do kisses?
I thought there was a hug, but I don't remember what it was.
Why do Hershey's kisses look nothing like a kiss? They look like a turd. I don't get that.
I know. I saw this and I thought of you. Oh, thanks.
Yeah, it has kiss on it. Oh, well, so does the band. You haven't bought me a Gene Simmons mask.
Yes. It's not Valentine's Day yet. No. All right. For my news, this has been trickling out over the last couple weeks. Excuse me, but the XL version, if you will, of Sengoku Basara 4, Japan only as for now, unfortunately. But it's called Sumeragi. I don't know. I like the Dynasty Warriors where they're just XL, so you know what they're talking about. But they showed some more of that, and one of the things that they talked about was that I think there was like 4 NPC characters that were not playable in Basara 4 that they're adding as playable characters, and it's like, well, of course they're adding them, because I remember when I was playing 4 and I was like, oh, I want to get that character, and I looked it up and I was like, oh, you can't unlock her.
It's funny people say add playable characters. Add some non-playable characters, just put them up there and have them wave to you or something.
That's horrible. Yeah, but also you supposedly can play as like the generic officers too, and I'm like, why would you want to? But that's awesome. And the one of the character, well, at least according to what I've seen, that one of the characters like vehicles where he had like it was like a ship on like 6 big legs that the like feet could turn and make them wheels. Like I guess you could play as that. I don't know why. That sounds funny, but
nice.
But yeah, it's very not likely. Not very likely there. That sounds better. To come outside of Japan, but PS3, I believe it is. Actually, no, it's PS3 and PS4, I believe. I could be getting that wrong. But those are import friendly, so even if the menus and a lot of the stuff in Basara 4 wasn't, it was definitely very playable. So,
it wasn't like. It wasn't like too story driven that you'd be like, I don't know what's going on.
Well, like, kind of, but at the same time, like the third one came out here, so I kind of got a lot of the plot from that, so you can kind of infer. Like I had a reference point, if that makes sense. So since it was right after it when some stuff changed, you could kind of get a sense of what was going on for some of it. So I was like, okay.
I thought that might be like I've bought before now like Dragon Ball Z role playing games from Japan, and I've been sat here and playing them and be like, I don't know what's going on, and I know the show, but I don't understand what the hell you're saying, because for all I know, you could be using completely different dialogue than what the series actually says. But no, you know what? Fuck it, I'm just gonna pretend.
Yeah, they need to be slightly more import friendly. That'd be awesome. Because like the game Sword Art Online, the Japanese one, of course, is all in Japanese, but the Chinese version actually has English, like not spoken, but it has like subtitles and it's translated in English. And I'm like, that's awesome.
Which I will say is perfect. Which they did a game in Japan a while back called what the hell was it now? It was something like Africa, which I wanted, where you got all the cameras, and apparently there was an English version from there as well. They did do an English version, which I was like, cool. I don't understand why they don't do it more often, which we'll probably touch upon in our discussion later. But
yeah,
like over here, if you buy a game, because it's Europe, it's in every language spoken in Europe. It's got French, German, and stuff like that. It's like when you buy a game in Japan, there are people in Japan who speak English. Why isn't there an English option?
Yeah.
Especially
because don't exist. They're just a myth.
Especially because the companies know there's going to be people like Rick who import them.
Yeah. But yeah, that was my second news.
Does sound cool though. I liked that big sort of the six-legged thing you mentioned.
Yeah.
That sounded just crazy fun.
It is like it's like a ship on it. Like it's not a small thing. I have no idea how you'd play a ship. Maybe it's like Galactus mode for Ultimate Marvel 3 or something.
Nice. Speaking of Marvel, my news: TT Games, the Lego Group, and Warner Brothers Entertainment have announced 2 new massive games coming out this year under the Lego brand: Lego Jurassic World and Lego Marvel's Avengers. The 2 games recently announced to tie in with the 2 massive upcoming blockbuster films due out this year, people, this year. The news about the game popped up in the unlikely place of coming soon, the movie website. Lego Jurassic Park game takes place across all 4 of the films. That's right, it includes the original Jurassic Park. And it includes Jurassic Park The Lost World, or as I like to call it, Jurassic Park Jeff Goldblum edition. And Jurassic Park 3.
Is there any other edition?
And Jurassic Park 3, as I like to call it, why has this not been retconned, but yet all of the Star Wars EU has? And the upcoming flick, Jurassic World. The next one that's coming out after, the other one coming out is Marvel's Avengers. And it's another interesting one, as it says, it's not just a standalone featuring the tales and exploits of the greatest heroes on Earth from the 2012 flick. It also is a combination game featuring the adventures and a borrowed storyline from the upcoming Avengers Age of Ultron movie due out this year. Which means the game won't be short of content, they've promised, but yeah, those 2. And it says they're due out June for Jurassic World on Xbox One, Xbox 360, PS3, PS4, PC, and Wii U. Marvel's Avengers will come out a little later than that, and according to the press release, it will also make an appearance on all of the consoles, including the Wii U, before people forget it has some third-party stuff, and will be appearing fall. Which, yeah. So I don't know what you guys think about those games. Part of me wants the Jurassic World one just to see what it's like, but part of me's like, I'm not sure. Because who looks at Jurassic Park and thinks, you know what? I want to play as that character, I want to play as that character, I want to play as that character. Or do you just enjoy this thing as a whole, if that makes sense? I don't think it lends itself as well to Lego, especially considering those games are good for multiplayer.
Yeah, I could see it as the Indiana Jones problem, definitely.
I
All those characters
like
were
Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to be Lego Jeff Goldblum.
Exactly, I said. If every time you said that character, you're pointing to Jeff Goldblum, then yes.
Yes, I will be Lego Jeff Goldblum. And if it's got online multiplayer, I'm playing as Lego Jeff Goldblum. I'm calling it first. Lego Bloom. But the Lego Marvel one is a little different as well, because it's gone back to tying in with movies. I'm not sure if I like that, because I liked Lego Marvel, how it was, like the Lego Batman ones, i.e. not tied into its own story, and it's just fun to play, and you got all these different characters. This seems like a little step back. At least to me as a whole, it feels like a step back.
I I'm wondering about the playable characters because I feel like that could be a step back because yeah, like they had I know I talked about this at some point anyway, but where like with Avengers they had a smaller cast, but with Lego Marvel superheroes they had much more they could draw from, and it feels like they're gonna like cut the roster in half for a new game, and that's just weird.
It does.
Also, what about a Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 or whatever? They should do that for Marvel.
I don't think they'll ever do an Ultimate Alliance 3. Sadly.
Aww.
I liked Ultimate Alliance, but I think the company that makes them no longer makes the Marvel games.
Aww.
But
Well,
now,
Activision made those, didn't they?
yeah.
Well,
I think
published them.
Yeah, Activision published them, but I think isn't Activision no longer making the Marvel games? Because I'm not sure. Most of them be all different companies now.
Yeah, they're as far as I know, since Marvel's owned by Disney, they're like once all the licenses expired, they're just like it's done, no more.
Yep, which kind of sucks because I'll be honest. What was the best Spider-Man games? Was it not Spider-Man 2 or Ultimate Spider-Man, depending on your definition?
Yeah.
As most people like to overrate some of the aspects of the second one. My balloon! But it's like, why would you take it from them? That makes no sense.
Yeah. Well, also, whether you love them or hate them, like the Marvel vs. Capcom series were well known, and it was like a thing, and then they're just like, man, can't sell those anymore, and it's like, what?
Well, so as much as I was disappointed by the third, I'd still want a fourth. I'd still like that to continue, even some capacity. It's like how hyped were people when the third one came out?
Yeah.
And Disney was sat there seeing all that hype and thinking, they don't know what's going to happen, do they?
Yeah.
But it's time for our catch-up session. So taking us away with the catch-up first will be Zelhamo.
All right. So for our first game I played this week, I played some Disney Infinity 1.0. Because they offered the download for the Wii U. It was for people that had the Wii version, and the portal for 2.0 works for 1.0 on the Wii U.
I just want to point out to people listening, I'm sorry for the description.
Oh.
You said Disney Infinity, so I put Disney Infinity 2.0. Oh. My bad.
That's okay.
It's the same thing because the portal counts.
Yeah, but there you go. But and I also had picked up a like super cheap copy of the 3DS one, so it had the figures in the playset.
Nice.
So I was just like, hey, now I have 1.0 on a different system. But that's pretty cool. It definitely, I can see that there's differences. But it was kind of cool, and I played a little bit of the Incredibles and a little bit of the Pirates one. Incredibles one was pretty cool, although I found the vault and I got sad because it's like you have to bring all these characters here. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I can't really get Syndrome, but thanks, game. And I was playing.
Yeah, I was the same way with that, with the vault. I bought the villain pack and the good one, and I'm like, cool. And I went into the Pirates one. I see the chest. It's like, you need Barbosa, yes, and it's like, and then you need Barbosa and you need Davy Jones. I'm like, okay, got Jack Sparrow, got Davy Jones. No, I don't have Barbosa. No, and then when I went to the Incredibles one, I'm like, yeah, I've got Mr. Incredible and I've got Syndrome. You need all four. You need all four. The Incredibles. I'm like, wait, what? No.
Yeah, and it was. For the Pirates one, I also picked up a cheaper Davy Jones, just because I think he looks kind of cool. And then I don't know if anyone remembers the beginning of the Pirates one, but you're on the rowboat, and I'm getting near the end. I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna jump by this rowboat, and I'm like, wait a minute, can he walk on the ground? And then I was like, have I just become a giant nerd? I'm gonna be like, wait a minute, he can't walk on the ground unless it's every 10. And then I jumped. I'm like, oh, I thought it'd been kind of funny if he had a bucket on his foot when he did it, but that was pretty cool. I only used Jack so far as to unlock a chest, because I bought 2 for that because I wanted to, because I want to play it with my kids, but I only have one PS4 controller, so we can't really play 2.0 until I get another controller. So I'm like, all right, I have 2, controllers that the Wii U works with. That's fine, but the starter set comes with one of 3 people, so I'm like, okay, so I had to get a second one, so that's why I got Davy Jones. So I was like, not using Jack Sparrow, so my son can use it. And I was trying to find an incredible character.
Didn't they?
I really want Syndrome, but he's really not available.
Oh, do they not sell the triple pack anymore?
No, you can't. That one's really hard to find. I can find the pack with Mrs. Incredible, and I do want her, but it's like I don't necessarily want the other 3 or the other 2 in it. But
I'll be honest with the Incredibles. Ironically, I didn't want Syndrome, even though I've got him. Not because I don't like Syndrome. It was because I wanted Violet.
Yeah,
she was my favorite. I liked her. The girl, I liked her. But I was like, fuck it. I get 3 characters in one pack, just so I have enough to play multiplayer on all 3. That was my only reason for buying the villains pack. But nice. I do like Davy Jones. He does look cool. But yeah, he shouldn't walk on land.
Yeah.
Although, I will say the game does explain it.
Oh, really?
One, because you're playing as figures of them, as they've mentioned. And the second one is, like, when you're playing the Incredibles as Syndrome, when you see him talking about, Syndrome, as he walks past you, when you're playing a Syndrome, he actually screams out, "That's not me, that's a different Syndrome figure."
Nice. Yeah, but at one point it's like Davy Jones is escaping with the map. You'll have to get it, or it's like, or be careful, or Davy Jones is gonna get it. I look at my character. I'm like, I'm pretty sure he's gonna get it either way. I don't think this is a win-win situation.
No, it's not. I will say thank you, Rick, because you played the. And not to insult, if people out there like it, fair enough. But I will say you played the only 2 of the 3 starter set of the original 3 starter sets I liked.
Yeah.
I don't like that incredibly Monsters University one because it's basically like a stealth-based Metal Gear game where you're using like toilet guns and stuff, but it's not as good as them with stealth because it's got elements of all the other Disney Incredibles one, and as a result, it just drags to the point of being boring.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've never seen either of the Monsters movies, and I don't really want to, so it's like, I mean, I have Sully sitting there with the rest of them, but I have no desire to put them on there.
I'll admit I haven't seen the film Monsters University yet, but I was like, I'll play it anyway, just because you unlock extra stuff to build in Toy Box.
True. That's true. And then the second game I played was, strangely enough, Generator Rex on PS3, because GameStop had their, or I don't know if it's still going on, but they had to pick 3 of these games, and it's $10 for all 3.
Is that the one based on the Cartoon Network show?
Yes, it is.
Oh, good.
That I have never seen, but
I've never seen it either. I just keep seeing adverts on TV for Generation Rex, and I'm like, cool. That sounds like a cool name, Generation Rex. That's awesome, like Generation X. But when I'm like, wait a minute, wasn't that like 2 decades ago, Generation X?
It was.
Shouldn't it be called shouldn't they come up with something? Because I don't even know what generation we're on now. What's going to happen when we run out of letters?
I think the latest one is millennials, is people born after 2000, I think is what it is.
Millennials.
Yeah, I don't know. I've heard that term. I think that's what it is. Maybe I'm just really old and I don't even know. But but yeah, it's But anyway, I picked up the game with that sale because it was dirt cheap. Because basically what I was doing, don't do what Uncle Richter does, kids. But because I wanted these 3 games, and then I kind of wanted to try another one, but I wanted to get. Because when I got it at 1, 2 of the games had the generic case, and I'm like, well, I want a case. So I went and got the other games with the cases elsewhere, and I just threw that one in, and then later returned them. So I just tried the game for a couple days, and it's not horrible. It's definitely a licensed game. It's a little wonky. Not, like I said, not horrible. Combat's okay. It's just some of the platforming is weird, and it's pretty short. I think it has 9 levels, but I didn't count. There's 2 vehicle level. Well, one is skydiving, and another one's on a vehicle. I thought those were part of the level that they were in front of, but I guess they're not. I guess they count separately. And I was like, oh, so there's 9 levels. Okay, I thought there were 7.
Which I believe we covered this, not this game, but I believe we covered what I'm about to say on a previous XGR. Why are kids' games all like that now? Like, oh, it's based on a kid's cartoon, so like you said, it feels very licensed. Who remembers back in the day when you could buy games on like the SNES and stuff, and it'd be like, I don't know, like Home Improvement or, or like, you know what I mean, or like the Animaniacs games and stuff where they had, or the Taz on Mars was awesome, and it had like almost nothing to do with the licensed property besides it was using maybe some catchphrases, and they just made a good game.
Yeah. Tiny Toon Adventures, Buster Bust Loose.
Hell, DuckTales, which is recently remastered.
It was free last month for Plus.
I like that game.
I do have to get around to playing that. But yeah, it's the game wasn't too good. I wouldn't necessarily recommend playing it. I mean, like maybe if you have an attachment or you've seen the show, it might be better. I don't know. But I don't know. There were worse things I could play, I'll put it that way. But
fair enough.
Yeah.
And over to Pew. Is Pew pulling a gym?
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Let me guess,
I was
muted?
speaking. You couldn't hear me. I was actually.
I
So
feel
exactly-
bad
I was looking-
sometimes I am muted because I'm like, God, I don't know if everyone does it or.
No, but like I had to look at the name because I was about to call it Borderlands, and I was like, wait, no second, and then I was like, oh, I didn't want you to hear me call it Borderlands. Yeah, but it's Battlefield, Hardlines. Yeah, that's pretty fun. It's kind of like Payday meets Call of Duty, so it's slightly better than Call of Duty.
Yeah, it is better than what the Call of Duties were. I've been playing that with Pew as well at times as well.
I just wish there was better matchmatching. Like they didn't pair you up with like like level 23 people. Like they could find people within like 3 levels of you or something. Like that'd be cool.
That would be cool for that, but ironically with those games nowadays, matchmaking just means anyone that will fit into the session. Mainly because because with those games, like, I could become a level 40 something by completely sucking. But who knows? Like the level 3 could be really good. You never know anymore with that. So as much as it sucks, the old-fashioned matchmaking has gone. But yeah, I do love the elements of Payday mixed in with that. Like I was doing a heist earlier, Rick. And tell me if this sounds familiar. You start off by going to the bank vault, and there's a little golden thing where you have to place something. You place a drill, and it starts to drill. The only difference in that is that all those police you're killing are actual players, so it makes it hard, and you got that element of oh shit, and you have to get the loot and stuff, which I really like that. I know some people don't, but I really do like that. And it is worth noting the beta is free for all people who have PS4, so you have no excuse for not playing this, people. And it's also free on Xbox One, I believe, as well. That is worth pointing out, but I hadn't gotten the Xbox One to experience that. But I believe it's free on that as well, so you have no excuse if you own a system that's not the Wii U to buy this game. Well, to get this beta. But continue, Pew.
It's fun. I like the badges and stuff. Like I could see, like imagine people would take the badges of their country, or at least a country they want to represent, or because like I'd be like fucking Canadians, or like and or like this one guy he had like the Israel patch. I'm like goddamn Jews, and they're like. And it's fun, No offense to if you're from that country or this, I mean, obviously you kick my ass, you better at games, whatever, and it doesn't mean anything, because I'm not going to say that all Jews are good at this game or bad or whatever, or Canadian or whatever. It's just funny, So.
Yeah, but you do get badges in when you've got the actual game that aren't just countries, so people will be encouraged to swap from their country to something else. Like you get some from battle packs. But what about that one I pointed out to you, Pew?
What the button you pointed out?
There was two next to each other, United States of America, and next
Oh
to
yeah.
the countries that are tied to United States of America, or whatever it was, like the neighboring countries, or whatever they are, that count as part of it. It's the exact same badge.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's.
And also, there's a bunch of emu badges. What's up with that? Like, why? What does that stand for? Like I'm just imagining like a whole bunch of cops riding on like a giant like ostrich thing. You know, like, what is that for? What does that stand for? Emu. Like for cops. Emergency meeting. I don't know.
Emergency medical operative? I don't know.
I don't know. It's a bunch of cops riding emus.
Yeah,
and,
it'd probably be something like Victor said, like emergency medical unit or something.
Well, I guess. I don't know.
I guess it could be an ostrich, or it could be something tied.
I think it's an
That's
ostrich.
what would
I'm
make
gonna think
sense.
that's cops. It's a mounted unit of cops who ride ostriches.
Fair enough. And your other game?
Yes, that's my game. Oh, other game?
You ain't done one, haven't you?
Oh, are we doing two?
Yes, because we're done with the awards.
Okay. What's the second one? What else do we play? Are you sure I can't do Scrabble? Because that was really fun. On Poco.com. Like,
Scrabble was fun, but it's like a little web-based game thing. It doesn't really count.
Because we learned a lot of words are actually words like treed, like you've been treed, and I didn't know that was a word.
I didn't either.
What else? What else did I play? I
Well,
don't even know.
okay, I'll go to my catch-up,
Uh,
because I know you played the first one. I've put this on there just so Richter can join in, because unfortunately, Richter wasn't there to make it for the review, so it'd be cool to get his opinions on the game, because I believe his were as positive as Marcus's, which was Shadow of Mordor on the PS4. Which, personally, I don't like that game.
I think it's pretty terrible.
I don't like anything about that game. The animations are pretty much exactly like Assassin's Creed. The fact I had 5 captains emerge at once when they're supposed to be rare, all around me, like a fucking Nexus-style beatdown. The fact I've had this one captain who I've killed, and every time I kill him, he comes back, and each time it's, surprise, bet you didn't think you'd see me again. And I'm like, no, I didn't, because I killed you. And after the third or fourth time when he does it, he goes, surprise, bet you didn't think you'd see me again. And I go, no, the surprise would be if I didn't see you again. At this point, you're basically Kenny. I made the joke to Marcus if I should totally just record that with him coming back every time, and then edit it into a montage like Starscream being killed over and over again by Megatron in the animated series.
That'd be awesome.
But yeah, like I said, I don't like that, but I understand some people do. Like I believe you liked some parts of it, Rick, so it'd be cool to get your opinion.
Yeah, I did. The only thing I didn't like, well, there was a couple like small things. One, I hate those dogs. 2, like I don't know Middle Earth that well, so sometimes there's like a plant on the ground, and I'm like, and like some of them, as far as I could tell, they activate instantly. So I'm like, I don't know if I need the healings, so I don't want to like pick it up because I don't know how long it takes to respawn, but like you get the little marks for picking up all the different types. And I'm like, I don't know what type that is. Is that pipeweed? I don't know. And enemies respawn really quickly, but yeah,
they respawn ridiculously quick.
Yeah,
It's
like you fight a guy, you turn around, and then they run back in from nowhere, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I mentioned that to Marcus when we did the review of, I killed this whole area of enemies.
Yeah.
I then went to the touchpad thing where you would go to equip your skills.
Mm-hmm.
When I left the menu, they were all back surrounding me. I was like, what? How?
Yeah, but I don't know. I thought it was pretty cool, and when I see the crazy stuff one of my friends did with that game, because he's like he's not very far in the story, but he's played it for like 70 hours. Because all he does is he like kills the orcs, and then like he dies to replenish the captains, and then he finds a guy that's cool, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna make you the war chief. And so he keeps like dying to that guy to get him promoted, and like he kills people he doesn't like. He's like raising his own army of who he wants to be there. He's like, this guy might look cool when he's leveled up, and so he like goes and dies to him just to level him up. I'm like,
Nice.
I love that you can play it like this. I mean, I think you're crazy, but that's awesome.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, I will say my other complaint with it was the look. Because I know, like Marcus says, well, it just looks like the movies, and you don't like the movies. Like I said, no.
It doesn't look like the movies.
Was not the look of it. This one, it looks more like Dark Souls than it does Lord of the Rings. And I'm like, it's dark for the sake of being dark, to the point where I pointed out, like, the video game is rated 18 over here, which is the highest age rating you can get. The movies are about a 12 or 15. Clearly, this one's darker and gorier for the sake of it. I don't like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a little like it is darker. Yes.
But like I thought I'd mention that just so Richter got Richter could
That's
say
fine.
he liked it too, because
Yeah.
I thought it was bad we missed him in the review. But my second game I played this week, Saints Row: Gat Out of Hell.
Yay.
I didn't play the Get Out of Hell part, but I did play some of that earlier, like 6 days ago.
Yeah, I said I'm slightly disappointed by it. Not to the point of saying don't play this. I do think people should play this, but I've completed the story in like two sit-throughs. I played the game for like 4 or 5 hours and completed it. Like completed all the story and stuff like that. And
Right.
I also don't like the fact. I understand it's a standalone DLC, but when they release a standalone, I expect more content. And the way it's laid out feels really just like they just threw everything on there for the sake of it. Like, fuck it, go. It's not as structured as the actual main game. It also, I don't like the flying controls, but besides that, it is pretty good. And I love my little armchair and my armchair with the guns and the machine gun. It doesn't transform. It is worth mentioning, I believe Marcus said it transformed on one of them, but I think he was wrong for people listening, because I think he said that during one of our reviews. It doesn't transform. Instead, R2 shoots the gun, L2 shoots the rockets. But so you can do both, which I've leveled that up to max. That's pretty good. There's also guns featured about the 7 deadly sins. Like the armchair represents sloth.
Oh, nice.
You can buy a SMG, literally called something like greed or gluttony, one of the two. I think it's greed. And all it does is it costs shit ton of money. It's all gold and it shoots fucking diamonds.
Nice.
There's a giant musical number with the devil singing to his daughter who wants to get married, which, that's so wonderful. Just because the song's awesome. It's got lyrics I love in there, stuff like the devil's in the details, and I've got more for you, as the devil's singing to his daughter. And I'm like, oh, it's wonderful. And so you have stuff like that. Then you also have elements of just pure crazy fun, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So overall, I like it. My only downside is a little short. No radio in hell, and the flying controls I don't like it. I had to max out my entire flight controls in order to beat some of those races, because I don't like those controls. But some people may like them. I do know some people who do. So it's worth checking out. So I believe it's time for our catch-up section. Our catch-up
discussion.
I believe it's time for our discussion.
I was about to say, didn't you already just say that?
I did. I retconned it.
Nice.
Thank you.
You just got eaten.
Yeah. It would be worth noting Richter would have been the ideal host for this, but as you can tell, poor Richter, he's ill. He's now sat there in like just a dressing gown with like an ice bag on his head and like a hot water bottle on his feet. Poor Rick.
That sounds good.
Sound good. But yeah, he's the sick at home dad gamer.
Yeah.
It's the increase of a load of Japanese games are now getting released worldwide, and what do we feel this means for the gamer and stuff like that. And I'm going to throw this off first with what I think this means as a whole. Is I think this has come about because before, in my opinion, I don't mean any racist by this, and I don't mean any bad stuff by this, but Japan as a whole were more snobbish towards their games. Like, oh, the West won't be able to handle Super Mario Brothers 2. Here you go.
Yes.
And they gave us that. Now that the Japanese gaming market is shrinking due to iOS devices and all that, they're like, well, we need more money. Fuck it, let's give it to the peasants and they just hand it out to the West. I think that's what's happened here. I don't think it's a case of they're listening to the Western audience. I think it's because their market's shrinking, so they need more money. However, that's just my take on what's happened.
I agree. I believe it's a monetary thing because I think that they sold, like for the Super Nintendo era and PlayStation era, I think they sold fairly solid numbers, but they weren't, like once you started getting stuff like Final Fantasy VII, most smaller RPGs are not going to reach Final Fantasy numbers. Just like a lot of games aren't going to reach Call of Duty numbers, and there's kind of that mistaken belief, I think, in the industry of like, oh, well, if I don't sell that many millions of copies, then it's a failure. And it's like, it's not necessarily a failure as long as you make money off of it. It's not, I'd say, a failure. But I think that they've started to see that there is a way to make money out of that, like especially with when Bravely Default came out. Like that, then all of a sudden Squeenix is like, oh, people still buy those. And it's like, yes, we still buy those. And they're like, oh, like, you can almost see the light bulb go off over their company's head.
Yeah. It's like, in my opinion, it's like you don't know what the next big trend's going to be as well.
Yeah.
For example, PS2 era, the one I would say was the big trends, there was two. GTA games. And I mean, any that was like GTA 3, the sandbox-style action games, like even Spider-Man became one.
Yeah.
And the other one was sports games, because it seemed to have a massive surge in like Madden and FIFA and stuff selling.
Yeah.
Those two seem to be the big hitters. Last gen, it seemed to be all first-person shooters.
Mm-hmm.
And as we've moved on to PS4 now, I see people, and I don't mean any offense to anyone listening to this, but I see people, because I know like Richter hasn't done this, because Richter was playing them way the fuck back when. But I now see loads of people who never gave a shit about JRPGs listing them as like the best genre of all time. And it's I feel like that's becoming the next big fad, like first-person shooters and stuff. So it's like that's becoming a big thing. That and indie games are now the two big genres right now.
I think for JRPGs it'd be a resurgence because I think I think during the PlayStation 1 that was a bigger one for that because it seemed like we got a ton of those. And I think unfortunately we got a lot of PS2 like RPGs and JRPGs, but I think that that's when it started to go down because I think they released too many.
There was a load on PS1, and for me PS1's era, the number one for me personally was platforming because it also had the N64 and you had Mario 64. Then we had Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, Gex. That's right, I'm counting Gex, people. I'm a Gex guy. I own a T-shirt. I'm a Gex guy.
Full house.
That's right, guy. That's right. I'm a Gex guy. It says on my T-shirt.
Does it really?
No.
I played that. What did you play it on?
I played Gex, whatever it was, on PS1.
Okay.
The one where he's like on his suit, like James Bond, on the top.
Enter the Gecko, I think, was that?
Yeah, Enter the Gecko, I think it was. I like that game.
Yeah.
But I think JRPGs were huge. Were huger. I don't know if that's the right word. During PS2, during SNES era.
Probably that's
Which I would make the case that SNES to PlayStation 1, if you count both eras, the two big ones were platforming and JRPG.
Mm-hmm. I'd agree with that.
But as the SNES era showed us, while it had those two, you could also get third-person side-scrolling beat-em-up games like Streets of Rage or Double Dragon and stuff like that, which some of them were from the NES, but like I loved my Streets of Rage on the Mega Drive. That was awesome. But I feel that's why it's becoming bigger. However, I think that's not necessarily a bad thing because it's now giving the people in the West more options for what games they buy.
Well, I think part of the rise of the indie is some of them are very polarizing games. Like you either love it or you hate it, and I think that companies are starting to see that like niche titles can actually have that they have a market, and that they just need to like if they just reduce the cost that they can use to bring the game over, then it's less of a gamble. And I think that that's why you're starting to see more come over, because I think that it's not that they're cheaping out, but they're definitely like a lot of RPGs and stuff I've been playing, they cut out dubbing. They just subtitle it or whatever, so they don't have to hire voice actors and stuff. And it's like, I'd prefer it both, like dual language. But if it's a choice, I think I've said this like 80 times already, but if a choice of having it subtitled or not having it at all, I'll take subtitled any day. So I think as they kind of figure out how to cut costs, they can bring out more. And I think because they're seeing there is a market for it, they just have to figure out how to not lose money on it. And I think that they've started to figure that out, and they're starting to take advantage of it, I'm hoping.
Yeah, I also think another thing could be, and I don't know if Pew might agree with this one, is I think I'm saying indie games as well. I know we're talking about them as well as the Japanese stuff at the same time here, but I think they're both rising at the same time due to the same. I feel it's the same reasons. When you look at an indie game and it's all like retro sometimes for the sake of being retro, or you look at like the JRPGs and you go into a store and you look at video games and you see big muscular guy with gun, big muscular guy with gun, big muscular guy with gun, generic anime guy with a sword, and you're like, whoa, that one's different.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of it, is because people have started to get sick. Or I think it's twofold. One, people have started to get sick of the big Western muscle-bound hero with a gun.
Yeah.
But another part of it, I feel, is, and I don't mean any insult to the people who like those genres. I'm not saying you are all this, but I think another part of it is also the culture right now, where hipsters are a giant thing, where they'll wear like original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles t-shirts without ever watching the cartoons. It's ironic, and they're like, oh look, it's ironic because it's SNES games. We don't care about your big EAs and Activisions. They're all evil conglomerates. We want to play the indie games. We're cool. And it's like, no.
That's kind of a thing right now, and it annoys me.
Yeah.
It's like a huge thing, especially when people like, oh my god, I have this like Zelda calendar up, and she was like, oh, he's so cool. And of course, like one of the things up right now, February is the month of Spirit Tracks, and she goes, oh cool, look at that green dude, he's riding a train. She thought the train was Zelda. Wait, that's even worse. Like, I don't even, like...
The train was representation of Link's penis, and the tunnel was Zelda.
It was like, I don't even know if that's worse than people thinking Link is Zelda. I mean, like, really? Really?
Yeah, but
the Link is Zelda thing at least makes sense. Thinking she's the train is kind of weird. Like,
I was like, you don't deserve that. You don't deserve that calendar. I'm going to take it from you.
Go get the Triforce. Like the train talks to him. Like that's all I can picture.
Are you serious? I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
If the train was called Zelda and spoke very Knight Rider-ish and stuff, that'd be awesome.
Oh wait, didn't the boat talk? The King Lion.
The King of Red Lions was awesome, okay? And I completely in my brain did not accept that the king was an actual dude under the ocean and was actually the king of Hyrule. I kind of retconned that from my brain, so he's just the boat, because I'm like, I don't accept that. That's not existing. Just like Shadows of Mordor, unless you bring it up to me, it doesn't exist in my brain. Like I had to think for a while, before he mentioned it. I'm like, I kind of delete things in my brain, and that's one of the things I deleted.
Yeah, but I will say, back to our topic, I was saying, I think that's the rise, at the moment at least. I think those three factors of money from Japan, they need money. I think the hipsters want to play stuff ironic that's different, so they can play, look, I'm all outsiderish and not I'm not basically conforming to your styles by conforming to the same style as everyone else that I like. And you've got the other one as well of, we're just sick of the same crap. We want something different, and I think that's actually helping right now. However, I also feel that's not enough, because I think at the same time you're still getting the giant shooter games selling the most each year, so it's not as much, but it's still helping rise them up, and I think that's a good thing. But I also think it benefits people like Rick.
Yay.
And
Yeah.
that means people who have no hair, ladies and gentlemen. No.
People who sound bald.
Yes, people who sound bald. People who are sick. No, it means. I mean, people like Rick who like some of the Japanese stuff. Like, hell, it's even benefited me because I like, as people know, Dragon Ball. I love my Dragon Ball. I like Bleach. They're crossing over for J Stars coming out this year. I think it's either J Stars or it's Jump. I get that confused because there's been like 3 or 4 of them, and each one is called. Some are called J Jump and some are called J Stars, and it's like, but it looks awesome because I get to play as Goku fighting Ichigo. Yay, to the death, to the death. And it's like, but don't get me wrong, I'm still going to buy my Xenoverse first. That's the one I'm looking forward to the most. But I think that's great. I also think Xenoverse itself is also telling, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if anyone else would agree, because I think Xenoverse is very telling with how they've structured the game, because I also feel some JRPGs could also, or some Japanese games now, are doing what they needed to do, in my opinion, which some people may disagree, and take inspiration from stuff that works in the West. Like, the West need to take inspiration from stuff that works in Japan. It's that way everyone gets the best of everything in one game.
Yeah.
Like, Xenoverse, the way it's structured with the online and stuff like that, it's Destiny. It's structured like Destiny for a Dragon Ball game. And that's brilliant, because I think Destiny, as much as I don't like how Destiny, some stuff with Destiny, we've all agreed as well, though, it's sort of genius and could possibly be the next evolution of MMOs. And I think that's a good thing. It may not have been the best one for that, but it's definitely got some stuff that works. Like, I can play Dragon Ball Xenoverse when it comes out this month, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. I can say, jump in as my character, jump with Richter, and say Pew and Marcus and stuff, and we can all go and fight like fucking Raditz. Or, which, that sounds weird that we all have to group up to get Raditz, but I should have made that sound better. We're all going to group up and fight.
Well, maybe we just started. As much as I laugh at Raditz, it did take 2 people to kill him.
It did. Yeah, but yeah, we have to do that. We have to team up to face Raditz and stuff. And it's cool, and it's got the element of loot drops and stuff, which works as well. And it's a Japanese game, but it's clearly taken loads of stuff from like Diablo, Destiny, and all these other stuff all at once. And I think that's great. I wish more games would do that. Like, I loved some of the stuff with JRPGs and stuff when I played them in the past. Some of it I liked. Like, I loved, for example, some of the early Final Fantasies. I loved them. I loved, I know not many people did, but I liked Super Mario, the RPG on the SNES.
I thought people loved that game.
See, I've heard some people now complain about it. I hear people nowadays talk about how it's shit because it wasn't like...
I like it because it was the predecessor to Super Mario Sunshine. Yeah.
No, it was a predecessor to Paper Mario.
I know, but it made me feel like Super Mario Sunshine like a little bit.
It shouldn't. It has nothing in common, but yeah.
I don't know. I just felt like it was like kind of working its
Mario?
way there, like really early.
Okay then.
That's way too try hard. But yeah, it's a case of... I've seen people insult it because it's not Super Paper Mario, or it's not Paper Mario and stuff. And it's like, why would you do this? Just because it's not them it doesn't matter. At the time, they weren't them. They were nothing.
Yeah.
And I liked it. It has the 3D I don't like Sonic 3D, where it's, you know what I mean, that SNES style 3D, which kind of gives me a headache to look at, even back then. Even back then, it was like, that's ugly. But I was like, it's 3D, so I shouldn't be hating this. But yeah, I liked stuff like that. And I think those types of stuff could benefit. Like, hell, there was a Western game. Maybe some people have heard of it. It recently came up in some stuff called South Park Stick of Truth. I believe that heavily took from JRPGs.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it worked. And I think that's great. I think more people need to do that.
Yes.
But what's your thoughts on this topic, Richter?
One other thing I would want to mention, though, I think that might also be helping bring stuff out here is there's not a huge cultural shift in America, at least toward being accepting of this, but it's starting. But I think a lot of times some Japanese games feel kind of weird over here. Like sometimes they take more chances. Like there's one where you play as a mosquito. You know, like if you tried to pitch that in America, people would be like, "What?" And there's a lot of like fan service games, and I think that.
Are you talking about Mr. Mosquito that was on the GameCube or Wii, whichever one it was? I had that.
Yeah.
I had that game. I was like, oh my god, that looks so why? And I had to buy that.
I know, right?
I should have bought that.
But it's so unique. But I think that in Japan also has a lot of fan service games. Like one of the next ones I have to review is definitely a fan service game, and I think there's that too.
Is that the one where the vampires and they have to take off their clothes or whatever?
There's that too. I already did review that one. Yeah, that one's actually not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I thought it could have been far worse in that respect. I was like, oh wow, it's actually handled really well and pretty even. But yeah, but even a game like that, it's if you had pitched that 10 years ago, there would be people that would be like, oh, that sounds kind of cool. I wouldn't mind checking it out. But I think on the whole, people would be like, that sounds a little too weird. I don't want to see naked people. And I think that it's not necessarily changing overnight, but I think there's a little bit more acceptance of that. Some of these are game mechanics. They're not necessarily they're part of it. You can ignore them and still play the game and find it fun, even if you don't fully agree with everything that's there.
So what you're saying is Leisure Suit Larry was ahead of its time.
Oh, it totally was. But one thing though that I kind of worry about is this makes me shake my head. But sometimes they'll announce a game, especially Nippon Ichi, NIS America, or Idea Factory International. They're okay, we're bringing this game over, and people are yay, and they're we kind of have to change some images because they look like 12-year-old girls, and we want to cover them up a little bit. And then half their fans are that's censorship, you can't do that. And I'm dude, chill the fuck out, okay? 1, 12, ew. 2, would you rather not have the game here? Deal with that, and then eventually, as these sell, then they'll get more accepted, and then eventually do. I mean, it's not going to switch overnight. You can't just, push a button and people are oh, that's okay. It doesn't matter if it's nudity in the game. It's going to be a slow shift, but at least it's coming here. 12 years ago, this would not have happened. You would have just heard about it on the internet, oh, there's a game with nude girls in it, tee-hee. It's the fact that it's coming here, even if it's slightly censored. I mean, one of my favorite games, Final Fantasy IV. Or 2 is when it was released here, was technically slightly censored, but you know what? It was fine. Nobody really cared at the time. Now it's I don't know if
graphics get you off, then you'll probably have a whole new place and you belong someplace else anyway.
I feel that they should possibly look at maybe cashing in on this.
Mm-hmm.
Release a game, let's say I was releasing a Japanese game and it was all about, naked women and giant swords and stuff like that. Maybe you've heard of that game. They tend to do that a lot.
I don't know. I'm pre-ordering it right now. Tell me more. Yeah.
With mech suits.
Yes.
Rick does things bleeding and pre-order. No, I was going to say, let's say I'm releasing a game like that. I know, and when I release it in, say, America, there's going to be sensitive stylization to this.
Yeah.
But there's also an element of people want to see it. Oh, it's freedom of speech, how dare you, or oh no, I want to see it because I shouldn't. So why not release the game completely edited and stuff like that, and then make people pay money for DLC that takes away the censorship?
There you go.
Because you have to be an adult to purchase stuff off the store, allegedly. And you take it and but then... people will be buying that if they want to, and it's not the game developers have exposed them to this. They've made themselves by choosing to get the DLC. The game developers well, we just put it there for the purists who wanted it unexposed, who wanted it in its purest form. They're gonna make a shit ton of money off that.
The only problem I see with that
is not already a thing.
It should be. Well, I want to say it was, but I'll get to that in a second. But I could see. I'm not. This is not disputing your point. But that I could see tons of parents that just be like, "Oh, but my son could do it," and I would just be like, "Then watch your kid." It's like if he's using your credit card to buy this stuff, maybe you should pay attention to him. I understand you don't want to watch your child every second of every day, but you should still pay attention to what they're doing. But
they shouldn't have your card like saved on a system that children uses.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have, because if they can grab your credit card information like that, what's to stop them from using your credit card and buying like an 8-foot-long plastic dick on Amazon?
Exactly.
Like, there's very little, because all you have to do is click, and then there you go.
Because if you save your details onto like the PSN on a system a kid uses, it's all completely starred out, except for the last couple of digits.
But I mean,
and
like
they
the
can only
same thing on
purchase stuff.
Amazon. Like if you saved it in there, it would just go.
Who the fuck uses the Amazon on their PlayStation?
I'm just saying, if you saved your credit card information on Amazon and you bought it, you could just do the one-click thing, and then you wouldn't have to see anything.
One-click buy, or whatever it's called.
Exactly. And then you wouldn't have to see any information. You just buy it. It could just be like a little stupid kid who like, haha, I typed in poo in here, and now I'm going to get a bag of poo in the mail. I don't know.
There is, but I would make the case if that's not... Doing it on Amazon is stupid. Doing it on the console is stupid, but not as stupid, because, come on, they can only buy stuff from the PlayStation Store.
Yeah. Wasn't, I could be wrong. I thought a game actually did that, where there was, like, a piece of paid DLC that put the gore back in a game. I want to say it was something released in, like Japan or Germany or something. Like, it was a game that came out here, and they had a censored version, and you could like pay to unlock the gore, but I don't remember what it was. It was only a couple years ago.
Makes sense.
Oh, what was it though? But so I swear they've at least tried that, and I think that's actually a really good middle ground. Of it's like, well, if you want it, you just pay a little extra, and then it's a good way to gate it off from people that you might not want to see it. Or that it should be someone else's decision if they see it versus everyone. So I like that.
And thank you. But yeah, I think it's benefited people with the stuff like this. Like Rick is now getting his Monster Hunters released.
Yay! I know. I'm so excited. There's like a week and a half left.
Till Evolve? Oh no, that's 5 days.
Yeah, it's 5 days. No, till Monster Hunter. It's on the 18th or something.
I would argue Evolve is the only game that people should be buying in February that involves hunting monsters. I'm kidding.
We are done here.
We're done here. Yeah,
I don't know you anymore.
I just see Rick there. You have made a powerful enemy on this day. It's one thing to completely invalidate me. It's another to completely invalidate Monster Hunter.
Yeah. Now you've gone too far.
Now it's personal. But I'm kidding. But I would make a case that my joke as well also points out one slightly true element.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think many people have possibly discussed, or some people may have. Is Evolve not someone taking the concept and idealizations and stuff of Monster Hunter and adding all the stuff elements of Call of Duty to sell it for the West? Because it's for hunters like Monster Hunter. You're hunting a giant monster like Monster Hunter, but you've got like squads and shit like Call of Duty, like first-person shooting and stuff like that. You've got like giant monsters where you can brawl and stuff. It's like the Western's version of Monster Hunter, which I think.
Left 4 Dead?
Which part it does, I think, because I think some of the people worked on it. But I'm just on about in terms of the overarching stuff between those two, because it takes some other stuff. But the reason I'm saying that is, do you think a load of Western developers now are realizing that people are buying more of the Japanese stuff, so they're including the elements in their games, so the other games look less unique?
Well, part of me thinks that maybe I'm giving it too much credit, but I could see that they're like, okay, this game has a really strong following. It's not necessarily huge numbers, but these people get it and they keep it, and whenever a new one comes out, they buy it. these people, like they're the ones that in some ways you want to keep these, you want to get these fans because they don't sell their game. They tend to keep it forever. And, they like word of mouth and stuff. So I could see that they're like, well, okay, let's look at this game. Let's try to figure out what is the pull, what is addicting about these games, and then try to adapt that to their own. I could see them doing something like that, where they're like, okay, so people like the cooperative aspect, and they always like it's not a squad versus squad, it's 4 people banding together to beat something that's a lot stronger and larger than them, so there's teamwork, but you still kind of get that versus. So I could see them, trying to figure out what they could adapt to make their games more desirable, to get a stronger hold in fans, so they're not just like, beat it, trade it in kind of thing.
Yeah, and I will say that's something that's great about this podcast for people listening, is sometimes we make jokes like that, and there's actually something where you realize something based on those jokes. Like, I just realized how much Evolve is like a Western Monster Hunter. In Monster Hunter in itself, like I said, when I played on the Wii U, I liked that game, and I know Richter's looking forward to the next Monster Hunter, and it's going to have all of the stuff like the Mega Man and Sonics and stuff in it, which will be awesome. I wish my Evolve had a Sonic DLC.
I wish my Titanfall had an Optimus Prime DLC.
I just wish everything had a Sonic DLC.
Yeah, I could buy that. Like, I'd love to play as Sonic Man in Mortal Kombat.
I thought you were going to say Sonic DLC for Sonic 06.
Then you can have Sonic in a Sonic costume. He is a stuffed Sonic, and you can have Sonic shoes.
Ironically,
are shaped like Sonic's in a ring.
Ironically, Sonic 06 had Sonic DLC. It had
Really?
DLC where you could play as the sidekicks, and their gameplay was a lot more fun than the actual gameplay. So I bought that shit twice.
Nice.
I say twice, not because I'm doing the Pew thing of people hate this, so I had to have bought multiple copies. I'm such a hipster. I bought twice because I didn't realize my game was an American imported copy because I had the sticker right over the age tag.
Oh, right.
And when I peeled it off, stuff just remained over it, and it was annoying at first. So I was like, okay, I've got the UK one. I bought it from Amazon.co.uk. Cool. Buy the DLC. It doesn't work. I'm like, wait, what? And then I'm looking, I'm like, wait a minute. And I check the disc, and I see the age rating on the disc. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. And then I go to the American store and buy it again.
Nice.
But no, I think that Evolve is an interesting case with the Monster Hunter thing, and I think that's kind of cool that they're looking at stuff like that and doing that. But I also think, in my opinion, thinking about it like that, and I just realised that, it's like, that's kind of dickish. Not them. I just mean, how many web pages have talked about how unique Evolve is, and how it's like, oh yeah, this is the first time when you'll get to experience this type of gameplay. And I'm thinking about it in hindsight, I'm like, it's Monster Hunter mixed with Call of Duty.
Yeah.
And I think that works. I'm really looking forward to getting Evolve. Yes. I will be trading in Shadow of Mordor to get that shit.
Nice.
Not because I couldn't afford the game, just because I don't want Shadow of Mordor.
I'd also say it's mixed with Left 4 Dead, because like in Call of Duty, you can fuck your person over and generally do just fine. But in Left 4 Dead, if you fuck someone over, you're dead.
Yeah.
Like they have like all the team things where you need like 2 people to do stuff.
Yeah, they do, and I'm saying they do. They have taken stuff from Left 4 Dead. I believe it was made by the same people, but I also Call of Duty, because how fucked are you on Call of Duty like zombie mode if all your team dies and you're the one dude left?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the zombie mode on Call of Duty, which
I would personally
got overdone itself, where everything had zombie DLC. You know what really needed zombie DLC? Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6.
Ha! That would have
I see what you did there.
I know, and then as much as I actually had some fun playing 5, the DLC is like a versus mode, the one thing that Resident Evil never needed. Like, why can't we get something else that would be cool?
I was annoyed how much that cost.
Wasn't it like $10 for a... like, it was on the disc DLC. That was like the first huge one, I think, right? It was on the disc.
That was like one of the huge ones. It was like you said, it was like £12, I think, over here when it came out. It was like 12, and you buy it, and it's like a couple of kilobytes. Done. I'm like, Wait,
Yeah.
what? The fuck just happened? The fuck did you just do to me? Oh, congratulations! You can now unlock the content that's already on your disk.
Yeah. It prints money.
But yeah, the Japanese surgence of imported games, I think it's benefiting everything. I think at the moment, except maybe Japan, ironically. Actually, no, it's benefiting their games a little bit. I mean, because their games are not doing as well because people are now going arcades and iOS devices more.
But if it's a Japanese company and it sells more over here, then they have a little bit more money to bring out more over there.
They do. So it does help them in that regard. But I think it's a shame that the Japanese game market is dying in Japan, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
That's a shame, because I always think of Japan as the #1 country for games. Ironically, I prefer loads of the Western stuff. Like, if I go RPG, I go BioWare. But that's me personally, and I understand other people are different, which is fair enough. However, come on, it's the country that gave us Mario and Sonic.
Yeah.
I don't want them to die. That makes me sad. But no. And that's something else that, ironically, Japanese style that Evolve has.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's got an element which I haven't seen properly in a game for God knows, I don't think I've seen it. Because Monster Hunter doesn't do it quite this way, because Monster Hunter's more... The monsters are obviously like they're less big, if that makes sense, and you're more actually hunting them.
Right.
Where Evolve, you're surviving against it. It has that Godzilla element. Because when I'm playing as the monster, cool, everything dies. When I'm playing as the soldier and I'm down in the grass, before now I've heard like a roar, and I'm thinking, what the fuck was that? And then through the trees, the monsters emerge. I'm like, oh shit, kill it. Which I like that, because I like Godzilla. I do like Godzilla. I even like, and I do recommend people watch the new Godzilla film, by the way. I like that film. But yeah, I will say, it's benefiting everyone. I think, #1, it's benefiting the gamer.
Mm-hmm.
Or the stay-at-home dad gamer. But I think it's benefiting everyone. I think another reason for this as well, not to discredit it and say it's only rising because of hipsters and lack of money, which I do think is a part of it, and they're getting sick of some of the stuff in the West. I think another element is the internet. Because with the internet nowadays, people can talk about games more, and as they can talk about more stuff more, they're more aware of stuff that's coming out elsewhere. And they're more aware of worldly events. They don't give a shit unless it's their particular country, and they can make a cool hashtag from it. But they're at least aware. But I don't know, what's Pew's thoughts on this topic? Because Pew's been oddly quiet.
Bring on more stuff. More Japanese shit that I can actually grill on that's not completely slowly transition more of it rather than full out. They could slowly put it on more games, and I could try more of it without being completely lost or culture shocked.
You know, when you go to work and you have the meetings and the manager just throws out sentences that make no sense. I feel that's what Pew just did, but filtered through the mouth of a Valley girl.
Shut up. I feel like they could introduce more
synergy.
Shut up. I feel like if they could introduce more games with Japanese style without going too Japanese. I don't know how to describe it, but just small amounts of it, Yeah, get more casual fans to do it beforehand before you lay out the big guns,
You ease them into it.
Yeah, Nintendo did for 10 years.
Yeah, like I said, the two big games I'm looking forward for in February, Evolve. Clearly, it's taken loads of elements from the Japanese games, but it doesn't feel like a Japanese game.
Yeah.
Just like Dragon Ball has taken loads of stuff from Western games. However, I'm going to make a case playing it. It didn't feel like a Western game. It felt like a Dragon Ball game.
Yeah.
And I think that's those two. They're coming out at the same time, but they both prove the case of they're taking inspiration from both now. And I think that's kind of cool because more stuff can be possible until we get to E3 and it's fucking 20,000 Space Marine shooters.
True.
True.
One.
Rick is just like, yeah, true. And I will also point out for people wondering, you're probably thinking, wait, you did the awards, like Around the Pound did the awards, but they also did what movies you're looking forward to this year. Why aren't you doing what games you're looking forward to this year? Because if we did, then there'd be no point in us doing our E3 videos, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Because literally, that's all E3 is nowadays. It's just a giant advert for games this year.
And also full of lies.
And also full of lies. Alright, but we are looking forward to E3
Tasty,
this year, but
tasty lies.
I think we've done well on this subject.
Yes.
If you've got any thoughts, opinions, or you just want to say stuff like #Pewcraft, please leave a message below.
Fuck off.
No, we don't want them to fuck off. We want their opinions. How dare you insult our viewers?
If you like #Pew, I can't even say it, Pewcraft, then you can go fuck off. I don't really care. Or on, whatever.
Duly noted.
#Pewcraft. It's the greatest game in the Pewniverse.
I'm gonna banish you from the Pewniverse.
I'm already out of the Pewniverse. I'm in the regular universe. You're in the Pewniverse.
Okay.
It's like the mirror universe from Star Trek, only instead of cool speeches, everyone just goes, eh.
Sounds about right, actually.
I was your host, Chris Aiken Mole. Hopefully you had fun, and see ya.